Everyone, and welcome to our brief introduction to the last part of our orientation today for the Teams Mentoring Program. And this is really geared for the one-on-one mentoring component of the program, which I'll talk a little bit about, and designed to give you a chance to meet your assigned mentor and or fellow, but also to give you a little bit of information about the program and expectations and be able to answer any questions you might have. So welcome. So the fellows of our program, I've already seen this a couple times now, so sorry about that, but we do want to just introduce you to the people that you'll be interacting most with from the administrative side of things. So I'm Lillian Eby. I'm a faculty member at the University of Georgia, director of the Owens Institute for Behavioral Research, and a faculty member in psychology. And Kathy Greenling is my partner in crime at Emory, and Kathy and I, with the help of an advisory board of folks across the Georgia CTSA institutions, developed this really unique mentoring program. And this is our second year, so we're really excited. We had great feedback last year, and we're hoping for another successful year. We also have Katie and Lauren, who do the lion's share of the heavy lifting administratively and are excellent resources if you run into any problems or you have any issues, and you'll be getting a lot of correspondence primarily from Lauren. But just want to let you know who's behind this and give some recognition to all the people behind us who help make this happen. So if you probably remember from agreeing to sign up for this program, but I know that's been a long time ago, so I want to just remind you kind of what the goals are for the program. So really our goals are for fellows to develop technical skills for working in interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary team science environment. That's very much in line with the mission of the Georgia CTSA. Also to develop interpersonal skills and relational skills for working in a multidisciplinary team science environment. The fellows already had a session this morning on kind of assessing their styles of relating and conflict management strategies, and we're hoping they will continue to be able to develop some of those skills through their interactions with you as well as other interactions as a part of the program. And finally, to develop networks to improve collaboration in multidisciplinary team science. So those are the kind of the three goals that we are using to undergird this program. And the program has kind of a trifold structure. It has the learning communities, which are groups of peers who have been put together based on career stage, also based on interest in the program, and to some extent scientific background, and they're working together as kind of peer mentors along with someone who's helping to organize that and run that learning community, which we're calling our learning community mentor. We have a mentoring toolkit, which has a lot of resources and training that's available for both fellows and also for mentors, and I'll show you an example of that in a little bit. And then finally, the piece that we're focusing on right now, which is the one-on-one mentoring relationship. So really the goal is to provide support from multiple angles to the fellows of the program, but also to make sure that we provide some support and resources to the mentors who've so graciously given their time to participate in this program. So we have 3 different learning communities with 3 mentors, 1 from Emory and 2 from UGA. And we have 12 one-on-one mentors from Emory. We have 7 one-on-one mentors from UGA, and we have 3 from Georgia Tech. So we're really pleased with having representation across most of our member universities that are part of the CTSA. Just to give you kind of a heads up, if you run into any snags, Kathy and I have kind of divided up the different components of the mentoring program. So if anyone has questions about the one-on-one mentoring component of the program, they can reach out directly to me. And then questions about the learning communities will go to Kathy. Lauren is here to help with all things Teams related. So if you need help scheduling content experts for the learning communities or any Zoom video conferencing, or if we get to the point where we could have group meetings in person, Lauren is going to be kind of your go-to person. But don't hesitate to reach out to me about questions related to the one-on-one. So one thing that has really been, I mean, a good challenge to have is that we have real diverse representation among our fellows in the program. And so while when we were designing the program, we thought it was really important to be as clear as we could about how we were making matches and what we were matching people on, and to try to set some expectations for the program itself. So we did consider individual scientific background as well as projects that people are working on, but it's not always possible to give a direct match there. So we're really also focusing on what kind of learning the fellows indicated that they wanted to get out of the program, as well as what the mentors said they were comfortable giving fellows. So we're not so much looking for a perfect match on science, although we did try to consider that. It's really to try to provide the fellows an experience that's well-rounded and potentially also help plug them in with other people in the mentors network who might be able to help with some of the kind of content areas and science that the fellows are pursuing. We do expect the pairs to meet virtually. We'd like you to meet for at least 1 hour every month. The fellows will also be meeting with their learning communities every month. So again, hopefully there'll be some synergy between those activities. We'd also like to encourage you to make use of a mentoring agreement and some of the other resources we have available in the toolkits. And I'll show you that I'll show you an example of that in just a moment. One thing that often comes up with mentoring relationships is sometimes it's not completely clear who's supposed to be driving the relationship, and those initial interactions can feel kind of awkward and forced. So we really want to make clear that we're expecting the fellows to really be driving the relationship. The senior mentors have very busy schedules and have graciously volunteered their time. So we really want the fellows to be driving it in terms of reaching out, scheduling meetings, staying on track. We also want to be very respectful of the mentor's time. So we ask the fellows to be prepared for meetings in advance and really give some thought to what your goals are for the program. Possibly utilizing a mentoring agreement, which I can show you where to find some of those tools, or an individual development plan. Of course, we want fellows to be receptive and open to their mentor's advice. Again, meet once a month, preferably for an hour. And also, we already mentioned that the fellows will be attending a variety of events throughout the year, in addition to their experience with their one-on-one mentor. And of course, filling out those evaluations, which help us improve. For the mentors, we really want you to be responsive as you can to your mentoring fellow, making time to meet, listening to what they have to say, and providing advice and feedback as you see appropriate. We do want to stress confidentiality. One of the things that can make mentoring tricky, particularly in an academic context, is people not being sure who they can talk to. So we really want to foster an air of confidentiality. We've not made matches among people within the same academic institution and department for that very reason. So sometimes it's a good idea just to kind of talk about this early on to make sure that everyone feels comfortable with the material that's been shared. We also, again, are encouraging a mentoring agreement, would like you to meet once a month with your fellow, and you're attending this kickoff event, which is great. We really encourage you to attend the graduation, which we had to do on the fly virtually last year, but it actually turned out to be a great event, and it's an opportunity to recognize the fellows and to recognize you for your contributions. So we hope that you'll attend that, and again, give us some feedback to help us continue to improve. So I mentioned the toolkits and the information that's available. So on this Georgia CTSA website, we have a mentor toolkit that has a variety of different topics. And we also have a kind of a companion fellow toolkit, which includes similar, but also some different topics. So for example, the fellow toolkit has some information about professional development, which is less relevant to the mentors. Well, let me just go on here real quick and kind of show you what you can see. And we encourage you to use this information and use it not just with this mentoring relationship, but you're welcome to use this information to help improve other mentoring relationships you might have with graduate students, postdocs, other faculty, and the same goes for the fellows as well. So we kind of laid out some expectations here, but this is where you can find the nuts and bolts of the toolkit. And the goal setting and alignment page is, I think, particularly relevant early on. So there's some good information about how to help your fellow or your mentee set goals that are realistic and attainable. There's some individual development plans for mentors to look at. There's going to be some parallel material for the fellows as well, how to build accountability. There's some example mentorship agreements that can be used or adapted. And this really just has to do with laying out expectations for meeting, also it can have information about confidentiality and those types of things. So there's a whole bunch of topics. We also have a special section on diversity and relational boundaries and harassment that we think is particularly helpful for mentors. And again, you're welcome to use it in other contexts if you find them to be useful. We just ask that you please credit the Georgia CTSA for anything that's been developed specifically for us, by us. But a lot of that information we pulled from our various sources. The Fellow Toolkit looks real similar, so I'm not gonna pull that up, but just know that all this is available on the team's website, which is part of the Georgia CTSA. And the one last thing that we have for you as a guide, which we hope you'll find useful, is, and Lauren sent this in an email correspondence to you, I think on Friday, and it was a long email that had lots of information. We don't expect that you have looked at all of it carefully, but we did find last year that having a planning forum that the mentors and the fellows use was really helpful to kind of keep the relationship going and make some decisions about the types of things to talk about in these various meetings. And so we have this one-on-one planning forum that we have shared with the mentors. And for mentors, there's also the second page of that forum also has some advice about how to get this started, the types of conversations to have, some like just conversation starters, and things that can be helpful because it can be awkward the first meeting sometimes if you don't immediately find a point of similarity. So the mentoring plan is really for your use. And you can keep track. The fellow, it would make sense for the fellow the fellow and or the mentor to keep track of this. And it just allows you to jot down ideas about discussion topics, and you could do this in advance. You could do a month at a time. We're just trying to provide you with some tools that we think could be valuable in making the relationship more effective and go more smoothly. And again, all that information is also in the email that Lauren sent. So you can reach out to her if you've misplaced that email. I believe a lot of the materials are also on the website as well. And I think we really wanted to do kind of a very brief overview. I guess I'll stop for a minute. If mentors have any burning questions, please unmute yourself, and I'm happy to try to clarify. Once we get through any questions there might be, we're going to give you an opportunity to meet your mentor or fellow. And if you've already met once, it's an opportunity for you to just get to know that person a little bit more. We have 20 minutes allocated to that. Again, trying to be respectful of people's time, but I don't think there's really an end date until Lauren's ready to go to bed maybe. So you are welcome to continue to have a discussion if it suits you, but we want to give you 20 minutes, give you kind of a boundary in case people have other things on their plate. And this last slide, Lauren will be sending information in the chat function to allow you to provide us some feedback on this overview after you've had a chance to meet with your fellow.
Yeah, this is Venkat Narayan. I have a number one. I enjoyed meeting my mentee. We had a wonderful 1 hour talking a couple of weeks ago. And my question really is, all this is very helpful, especially the toolkit, etc. But I assume that these are there's no obligation to use them rather than, yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely not. We just, I'm actually my area of research is on mentoring, and what I have found in working in a lot of organizational contexts is sometimes surprising perhaps to fellows, mentors feel like they don't really quite where to start and they don't really have the tools they need. So we're just trying to provide information. It's completely up to you. We just ask that you do meet once a month and that you try to meet for an hour. But other than that, we understand these are organic, and we want to encourage people to interact in ways that work for them.
Thanks a lot. That's helpful because I think, my own style tends to be organic. I don't like to follow checklists and structure.
Yeah, no problem. Kathy, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's good.
So are there any other questions? Okay, so maybe Lauren, if you want to, if you don't mind, you can start sorting people. I sound like, Harry Potter here, sorting people into their respective groups. That would be great. And then we will have a chance to connect back with some of the mentors if they are opting into some additional training.
We have 3 mentors who are not here today. So